Dear students, in this video I am going to teach you about the alkaline earth metals. So what are the properties of the alkaline earth metals you are going to study now. We know where the alkaline earth metal is present. In the periodic table, in the S block next to the alkali metals, the second group present is called as the alkaline earth metals. So these metals, what are the metals present in this group now? Beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium and radium. So except beryllium, we call these elements alkaline earth metals because their oxides and hydroxides are alkaline in nature and also they are found in the earth crust. If you take beryllium, its mineral source is beryl. Magnesium we got as a carnallite and dolomite, and calcium as a fluorapatite, and strontium as celestite, and barium as barytes. Following this, let us see the electronic configuration. When we see the electronic configuration of the alkaline earth metals, its outermost configuration, its outermost orbit contains 2 electrons which belong to the s orbital. So I can say it is a s2 electrons. Same time, when you go down the group, the orbit will be changing. So commonly it is represented as ns2. The noble gas represents the completion configuration. If you take the beryllium, it have the helium configuration. Along with that, that is the first orbit, it will have the helium configuration, and in the second orbit you have 2 electrons. If you take the magnesium, altogether it have 3 orbits. Out of 3 orbits, first 2 orbits will have a complete electronic configuration as the neon configuration, and the third orbit contains 2 electrons in the s orbital. So like that it follows for the calcium, strontium, barium and radium. When we go for the physical state, so how it is present in the earth crust. See, the beryllium is rare and radium is rarest. Only 10% of the igneous rock contains this. And magnesium and calcium are very common elements found as minerals in the earth crust. And the calcium is the 5th most abundant element found in the earth crust, and the magnesium is the 8th abundant element that found in the earth crust. This magnesium and calcium are found in many rocks and minerals. So some of the minerals or ores of magnesium are carnallite, magnesite, dolomite, and for calcium, the usually what we used to write in the board, chalk, limestone, gypsum, they are all the ore or mineral of the calcium. So most strontiums are found as a celestite or strontianite, and barium is little common and it is found as a baryte, and radium it is got by decomposition of the uranium due to the nuclear reaction. So we can say wherever uranium is present, there and all the radium will be also present. And now let us go to the atomic and the ionic radii. If you compare the alkaline earth metals with the alkali metals, the size of the alkaline earth metals is smaller than that of the corresponding alkali metals. That is, if you compare the lithium and beryllium, the lithium size is bigger than that of the beryllium size. If you compare the sodium and magnesium, the sodium size is bigger than that of the magnesium size. Why this is happened so? This is due to the fact that is the group 2 element, the nuclear charge will be more. So it will be attracts the electrons so strongly towards the nucleus. Because the increase in the nuclear charge along the period decreases the size of the atom. It will decreases the atomic radii and the ionic radii. This we have already studied in the third lesson in the topic, the atomic radii and the ionic radii. So when we move down the group, the radius increases. Why the radius increases? Because the electron is added to the new orbit. So there will be an increase in the number of shell as well as the screening effect. I have already explained you what is screening effect. It is the effect between the nucleus and the electron present in the outermost orbit. So the electron present in the outermost orbit is shielded by the other orbits present between them and the nucleus. And if you see the oxidation state, the outermost orbit contains 2 electrons. So these elements are capable of lose those 2 electrons and to attain the octet. So their oxidation state is +2. So if you take the atomic radius, ionic radius, ionization energies, so all their physical properties were listed here. So first let us see, I want to note here about the ionization energy. If you take the ionization energy, the alkaline metals have only the first ionization energy. Why they don't have the second ionization energy? Because when losing one electron itself, they will attain the octet. So it is very difficult to remove one more electron from them. But here you can see the second ionization energy also. Comparatively, it is not more as we expected. So why it is so? Let us see at the back. And then let us move to the ionization enthalpy. So due to the fairly large size of the atoms, the alkaline earth metals have a low ionization enthalpies when compared to the p block elements. When you go down the group, the ionization enthalpy or the ionization energy will be decreases as the size of the atom increases. This is because the electron is added to the new shell, as well as due to this there will be increase in the magnitude of the screening effect. So the members of the group 2 have a higher ionization enthalpy than the first group because of their smaller size. When the size becomes smaller, so the attraction between the nucleus and the electron in the outermost orbit will be comparatively more. So we'll get the corresponding to the corresponding alkali metals, they are less electropositive. And also when we go for the second ionization energy, the first ionization energy value of the alkaline earth metals are higher than that of the alkali metals. This you can compare and see even in your Clark's table. In the Clark's table, if you check the first ionization energy of the alkali metals and the alkaline earth metals, you find that the alkali earth metals first ionization energy value is more than that of the alkali metals. But same times, if you compare the second ionization energy, the alkaline earth metal are much smaller than those of the alkali metals. Why this happens? If you take the alkali metals, when I want to remove the second electron from the alkali metals, that is which have already attained the octet by losing the one electron. So now I have to remove the electron from the octet, a completely filled orbit, which is very, very difficult. In the case of the alkaline earth metal, the second electron is to be removed from the monovalent cation, that is, still there is a chance for removing one electron to attain the octet or the noble gas configuration. So the second electron can be removed easily than the second electron of the first group elements. And now let us see about the hydration enthalpy. So that when you take the alkaline earth metals, they are more extensively hydrated than the alkali metals, because the hydration enthalpy of the alkaline earth metals are larger than that of the corresponding. What is meant by that corresponding word? That is the alkali metal which is present just before the alkaline earth metal. If you take magnesium, what is the corresponding alkali metal of magnesium? It is sodium, because if you see the periodic table, before the magnesium, sodium is present. So that is its corresponding alkali metal. So like alkali metal ion, the hydration enthalpy of the alkaline earth metal also decreases with increase in the size of the ions. That is, the hydration enthalpy of the beryllium is more when you compare to that of the barium. And the magnesium chloride and the calcium chloride, when you take, they are existing as their hydrated crystals. Same time, when you compare their corresponding alkali metals, that is the sodium chloride and the potassium chloride, they will not form such hydrides. So from this we come to know this alkaline earth metals are more extensively hydrated than those of the alkaline earth metals. Now let us move to the electronegativity. So when you go for the electronegativity, in the alkaline earth metal, the electronegativity value decreases as we go down the group, as same like the alkali metals. And the flame, so when you heat, when you make a paste of the salt of alkaline earth metal with a concentrated hydrochloric acid and you heat that in a flame, that flame will give the color. The calcium will give brick red color, strontium will give the crimson color, again it is dark red like, and barium will give the apple green color. The calcium and the barium again you will be viewing in the lab. In the lab you can see, you can heat in the flame and you can view that the calcium is giving brick red color and the barium is giving the apple green color. Why this happens? The same reason as I said for the alkali metals. When we heat the flames, it excites the electrons to the higher energy level. When they come back to their original or actual energy level, this excess energy is emitted as a light whose wavelength is in the visible region, so that according to the region it falls, it gives the respective colors. And now as usual, the first element will be always differing from the other elements in their group, and they also resembles diagonally to the element in the next column. So let us see what is that. So reason for the anomalous behavior, anomalous different behavior of the beryllium. First, because it is smaller in size, it is having a high polarizing power and it is high electronegativity when I compare to the other elements. We have seen already the electronegativity will be decreases down the group. And being the element which having only 2 orbit, it does not have the even vacant d orbital. So 3 reasons. One is because of the smaller size, it have a high polarizing power and it have a high electronegativity comparing to the other element of that group, and also due to the absence of vacant d orbital in its valence shell. Now let us see some of the properties which differentiates the beryllium from the other elements in that particular group. The beryllium, it will form a covalent compound, whereas the other element form the ionic compound. Beryllium have a high melting and boiling point due to its small size, and the other elements comparatively they have low melting and boiling point than the beryllium. This beryllium, it does not react with water even at the high temperature, but the other elements they will react with the water. And the beryllium does not react with the hydrogen directly, but here the other elements such as the calcium, magnesium, barium, strontium, they will combine with the hydrogen directly. So it will also does not combine directly with halogens. Even if the halides form, it is a covalent. But here the combination will give the electrovalent or ionic compound. They can directly react with the halogen. And the hydroxides and oxides of beryllium are amphoteric in nature. What is meant by amphoteric in nature? According to the compound to which it's going to react, it can act either as acidic or basic. But when you take the other element of this family, they are only basic. They'll react with the acid to give the salt and water. And they are not readily attacked by the acids because over the beryllium, as beryllium oxide will be formed as a coat. So they will not be attacked by the acids that much easily. But here when you take the other compounds such as the calcium, magnesium and strontium, barium, they are readily attacked by the acids. And the beryllium carbide evolves methane with water. Here other compounds evolve acetylene with water, and the salts of beryllium are extensively hydrolyzed, and here it is hydrolyzed. And now let us see the diagonal relationship. When we take the beryllium, beryllium is having a diagonally relationship between the element which is present in the second period of the p block, that is the aluminium. So why they are having a diagonal relationship? Though their sizes is also not close, but the charge per unit area is closer, and they also have the same electronegative value, that is 1.5. So beryllium resembles. So let us see how it is resembling the aluminium chloride. If you take the beryllium chloride, they form the dimeric structure, that is two beryllium chloride, they will combine to form dimeric structure. Like that, aluminium chloride also forms the chloride bridges. Then the beryllium chloride also forms the polymeric chain structure in addition to the dimers, and both are soluble in organic solvents. So they are called as a strong Lewis acid. What is Lewis acid? We'll be learning about the Lewis acid detailedly in next year in solution lesson. So the beryllium hydroxide dissolves in excess of alkali and they gives berylate ion. Same time, the aluminium hydroxide also gives aluminate ion, whereas the other elements in the alkaline earth metal will not give such reactions. And beryllium and aluminium ion have a strong tendency to form the complexes. Beryllium tetrafluoride and aluminium hexafluoride, etc., etc. So they are forming the complexes. Those complexes were not formed by the other elements of that group. Both beryllium and aluminium hydroxide are amphoteric in nature. I have already explained to you what is meant by amphoteric. And the carbides of beryllium and the aluminium, they give methane, whereas the other they will give the acetylene. And both beryllium and aluminium are passive towards the nitric acid, that is, they will not react to the nitric acid. So thus children, I have just given you the introduction about the alkaline earth metal and some of its property. So in the next video, I will teach you about the chemical properties of the alkaline earth metals. Thank you children.